Hey guys, I'm going to give you some very important advice. Do not listen or follow to the 97%. Do not listen and follow the 97%. There's an important reason for that. If you understand the information that I deliver here, you might understand some very important things about life, about yourself. You got to stop and revise your perception and change your whole perception about everything you come to learn, everything you come to think, everything you come to know. Now, I know that majority of you will question this very dramatically, because I'm about to say something to you, and I'm going to be very firm about this. You're not going to get any better advice from anyone else in the world than what you will from me. You might get something equally as good, but I can guarantee you, you will not get any better advice from any human being on earth, no matter what. If you choose not to believe that, you're welcome to that. I'm not responsible for your decisions and what action you take here. You're responsible for your own decisions. And you've got to start learning to face your own decision with every single thing you do and every decision you make. You've got to stop and revise your perception about everything, no matter what. If you don't do that, you'll keep going through the rabbit holes. You'll keep falling into the same trap over and over and over if you don't change your perception. If you don't change your mindset and the way you think and the way you judge, you're going to keep being lost. You're going to keep on searching and searching and surfing for information, and more critical thinking, and more critical thinking, and you think too much as it is. You can't stop thinking, and you won't stop thinking because you keep using the same inverted tools. 99% of people right now doesn't get it. Well over 99%, I'd say. I'd probably say about 99.5. And most people don't even know why. They have no idea. Most of them think they do. But you see, they use all the modern technology. They use all the scientific evolutional theories, not the real facts. You see, people belittle things. When they use quantum fields, quantum mechanics, and all these evolutional theories, they belittle the truth. They downgrade it. They downgrade it so much they've got no idea, because they've got no basic common sense and they can't think straight anymore. They use all the inverted tools to come to their own conclusion with reasoning. But when you have parasites all over the world possessing human beings all over the earth and record it, and now on the front page of the papers, now done in so much research, I don't think you understand how many people's inverted and the tools they use, but that's how you know. That's how you know with basic common sense. You know, the reason I'm saying this loud and clear is because when you watch every person in the world with their information and you watch the people that follow them, take a look at the success rate. How many people really break people free from amnesia and also free from the human conditioning? How many people break people free from the human conditioning? If everybody's declared to be in post-human stage and can't think straight and can't think with their sixth sense, every person in the world done on a DNA test, then why do you keep following the same people? Why do you keep listening to the same BS all over the world? Everyone's using inverted tools no matter what they say, no matter what comes out of their mouth. Take a look at the action. Take a look at every platform in the world that I bring to all your attention with the top biologists, top scientists, the top elect, and the top prophets in the world. How many people is really breaking free from amnesia? How many people is being reborn? How many people really finds out the real truth and stops entertaining people? Take a look at my platform. Take a look at the videos coming out now. Look at the people that breaks free and finds God in a way that most people don't and are reborn. Look at the people that breaks free from amnesia and breaks free from the human condition. Listen to their words, not mine. Listen to their words. You know, I have people from all over the world that never even believed in God and now has a relationship with God. Has a fully blown relationship and gone into tears with joy, making videos amongst one another and starting platforms when they were shy and didn't even know how to talk on social media platform, didn't even know how to talk to their neighbours. Now they're out there leading people all over the world with 8 specific symbol tools coded in your DNA of who you really are. You'd be amazed how many people throw stones. You'd be amazed at how many people uses all the inverted tools and hasn't got any platforms whatsoever and has no success whatsoever but put tickets on themselves to get attention. There's so many of them. They're not giving the right advice that's really bringing people through this. They don't have that kind of action behind them and they don't have that kind of evidence. They don't have the following that's breaking free. Not at all. Most of them just entertain themselves and distract people, right, from doing the most important thing, and that's the resurrection of humanity. To go back to their primal state, to have amazing abilities, to have unique abilities that we all have. If there's one thing I've come to know, with all the platforms around the world, all of them, no matter who they are, I seem to be the only one anywhere in the world that brings every single platform together with the top biologists and scientists in the world. The top elect, the ones that won a Nobel Prize, and the top prophets. The top books that they wrote that unfold with evidence, the old men of renown, wisdom and knowledge, the ones that's been doing this for 40, 50 years. The ones that's dedicated their life into this. I bring them all together, all of them. You know, the funniest thing is, you can get any scientist biologist in the world to do any research they want. When they discover things, when they discover the cure of the human conditioning and how cellular works to preserve life, they found it through people that was doing it. The research went into those people that has the experience, wisdom and knowledge, and they're not scientists. They're not biologists. And they don't use all those tools with modern technology, modern social languages and all the scientific facts. They use basic common sense, where you're highly intelligent. But most people use a high IQ and think too much. And think they're highly intelligent with sophisticated languages and model engineering and new belief systems all over the world. Let me tell you something. When you do realize why God said he will choose old men of renown with wisdom and knowledge, and they'll write the books that unfold with him and they'll leave their mark on earth. When you understand that process, and you understand that the whole world is declared in post-human states and mental disorders and gene defects have gone through the roof, and now we discover there's alien parasites going into people all over the world and possessing them, the body snatching. It's coming out on platforms all over the world. It's now on the front page of the papers with one of the biggest disclosures ever in human history. I was possessed by one of these parasites. So I have the experience, wisdom and knowledge of knowing how to beat it. Okay? That's what part 3 was all about. That's what the video was all about that I made last night and this morning. And it is the most exclusive information disclosed all over the world. When you put every piece together and listen to Prophecy Club with what you haven't heard about the UFOs, you watch that video, you pay attention carefully, you listen to what he says. The same thing I do. This is the information I've been bringing you for 3.5 years. This is what's written in my book with Pandora's Box, with MR technology. Hitler's plan. that they're creating now with magic potions, mRNA technology. Most people turn a blind eye to all these things and think they know better. They consistently turn a blind eye, but most people in the world is declared no longer human, 93% beyond the point of return. They have parasites in them, and they're inverted and use all the wrong tools. Most people actually believe that information, and more programming, and critical thinking is the tools. People actually believe that the more information they have, the more they know, and that's not true at all. They're disconnected from their sixth sense and living it. Ask yourself a question with any people in real life. Where is there real loyalty, honor, respect, moral, and rewards, inspiration, encouragement in real life? Test people out that you're following. How many real friends they really have and what their real life's all about. And do they really succeed at breaking people free from amnesia, from the resurrection? Most people are not even talking about the resurrection of humanity, go back in the primal state. No one's talking about post-human stage at all. Yet we're warned in the Bible that every person in the world will be deceived except for the elect. And who do you think the elect are? Who do you think the elect are? They're the people that can do the things Jesus can and more. They're the people spoken free from amnesia to discover these things, our unique abilities, our primal state, to use these tools, the way we were created in God's image, to go back. The oldest Bible in the world talks about the fact that we're going to get our abilities back, the same way we had 6,000 years ago. That's removed from the new Bible. One of the most important things about us going into a new timeline of sevenfold wisdom and knowledge, where we begin to live with the tree of life and no longer live with the tree of knowledge like Babylon does. Babylon and the weapons and everything they design is the technology that we're forbidden from with the AI world. mRNA technology and every single thing they use with quantum computers and fields and frequencies that are downgraded from pure love. From the angels that watch us, to watch over us, that as our ancestors, that's coded in our DNA, in our own forefathers' footsteps, that's coded in our DNA for 6,000 years, to unlock these tools, to use these abilities that God gave us, to live for 1,000 years and to preserve life. It was in 2008, in the biggest mental health research, that they discovered that some of us had the tools to preserve life and were free from the human conditioning. We found freedom that other people can't find. And when you find freedom, you recreate the molecules that creates two molecules of immortality, which makes your body cells work together in such a way to repair your genes there and immune system, and how to preserve life. The very tools to preserve life, the preservation of life, the tools to repair genes, DNA, and immune system. When they discovered this for a handful of people, the last human beings born on Earth declared by Jeremy Griffiths, they went into the biggest mental health research, and he's the biggest biologist in the world, hailed by all the top scholars in the world to be the most important man on the planet, who wrote the book Freedom, where he explains everything biologically. He studied Plato and the human condition for 45 years, which is parasites, possessed by the devil. As he declared, the voice in your mind is ultimately designed for human extinction, and it deceives you all the time with frequencies. God works through visions and dreams, not through voices. Where you see the picture tells you 1,000 voices you can respond to 7 times faster. Most people are oblivious to this. Well, people hate a gnostic mastermind too. A person who can master their mind and no longer mastered by the mind that doesn't use IQ, people can't stand people like that. They think they're unintelligent when they use sophisticated engineering to come to every conclusion with reasoning, and you have to use every of those tools to justify what they believe in, because they've got no basic common sense. It's about love, man. It's about 8 righteous tools that makes you who you are. Without those righteous tools in the right place, you're nothing. You're absolutely nothing. When you don't live by it, you don't have any of those abilities. When your principalities are not in the right place, you don't have the power that God gives you. You have the power from an outside influence in your reality, which is a voice in your mind, ultimately designed for human existence and declared in documents. Jeremy Griffiths is the #1 biologist in the world today, who moves 15,500 scientists in cellular and DNA studies okay, psychological studies. And that would be when they went into the biggest research ever conducted in global history. And Bruce Lipton discovered things through cellular research and came out with this report in 2012. So did Joe Dispenza. So did Dr. Jordan Peterson. And we know of the biggest physiologist in the world today who learned how to recreate these molecules that dies between 7 and 15. The age of 7 and 15, those molecules die, and we can't create them because we think too much. But from 0 to 7, we create them. And then they die when we go to school to become inverted, to use a high IQ. Many people talk about this, such as Dr. Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza, with their technology as a scientist and professor. But if you take a good look at their following, they're not teaching people the right tools, and they don't have the success rate of people really breaking through and starting to create those molecules organically with their natural organic motor skills to think outside the mind and to be reconnected with life, nature, and all the things we're in harmony with loyalty, honor, respect, moral morals, inspiration, encouragement, and to be in tap with yourself and in tap with nature, because you communicate with it and she communicates with you. You know, every day I get people throwing stones at me non-stop because they can't do anything else but throw stones and belittle people and put themselves on a pedestal to think they know better. These people can't even start their own platforms. They can't do nothing to save people except for conquer and divide. And that's the tools they use. They may use the right words to sound like there's something sweet. But if you really take a listen to what they say, they do nothing but conquer and divide and uses the same inverted tools non-stop to better themselves. And I find it extraordinary that people consistently use these modern technology rules, and they're all the millennium age that are not chosen. God wouldn't work with post-humans. He wouldn't work with people that are inverted using all these tools without any basic common sense, and they try to reach out for every other tool that they possibly can to get people's attention. And all they do is distract them. Distract them from the most important moment in human history. You have to make a relationship. You have to be connected. You have to be reborn. You have to resurrect back in your primal state. And people don't even care. They don't believe in nothing about post-human states or resurrection. They don't even understand it. We're supposed to understand the resurrection, and people don't even talk about it. They don't even talk about it. They don't even talk about it. They don't talk about the post-human states, and nobody's deceived. They're all awake out there, every one of them. Trust me. You have no idea. The parasites have gone into their mind and taken over their mind and down their spinal cord, and that evidence is coming out in biology tests all over the world, and it matches every single thing I've been saying here to you. People will continue to use the same inverted tools and text all day like robots to fact-check Google themselves and to belittle anyone they can that's chosen for this path. Especially Aaron. He can't help himself. Look at him, texting and texting like a robot. All he wants is attention. But that's all he can do. Speak shit all day and text like a robot. He can't do anything to help people. He just wants attention. He can't help himself. Look at him. How you going, Aaron? Having a good day? You just can't help yourself, can you? You just can't help yourself. You've got to be here to belittle people and put yourself on a pedestal. But listen to me. God didn't choose you, because you wouldn't work with anyone like you that uses these tools whatsoever. You try to belittle everyone, and you're a Babylonian beast, and that's what your forefathers are. You try to belittle everyone, and what do? Where's your action? Because believe me, action speaks louder than words, and your words don't mean shit when you don't have the action to back it up. And that's something people don't understand. Look at the people coming through now that are finding out these things and using these magnificent tools and create a relationship, and not using some kind of narrative anywhere in the world, and not using modern technology, because people need to rely on that. Dr. Bruce Lipton went studying through Jeremy Griffiths when we brought this evidence to humanity. And he's a biologist. He's a scientist. Don't you realise that, Aaron? Or you're brain dead. Because I think you're brain dead myself, and you're consistently using the parasites with every decision you make. You come here to tell everyone what you think about everything, right? But what are you doing? Do you have the success rate that I do? No, you don't. You're just lying to everybody. You just wanted to entertain everyone with what you think you know. And then you use that narrative, don't you? But no one's following you. And no one's following people like these people. And believe me, God knows. God's not stupid. And you think he is? Yeah, you do. You make a fool out of him. You make a complete fool out of him, and he knows. You don't have a relationship with him. And my people do. And when you see them breaking down in tears and being free from the human conditioning, that's what it's all about. That's what it always was all about. A 6,000-year plan to get everybody to suffer the human condition on reverted tools with a high IQ, to make them think there's something special. They've lost their perception of what reality's all about. They're not even living in the real world anymore. They're living in a bubble somewhere. And the sooner people realize that, the better off they'll be. You remember how you come into this world as an innocent child? Then you got inverted. Because a child's innocent. And a child sees the world so differently, and that's why Jesus said, go back to your childhood, so you can see that world the way it really is, and the way it's meant to be. Go back to your childhood, and stop thinking, and think outside the mind, and you can feel these things, man. To feel things, not think, but to feel the love, man, pour all over you, because God loves you in such a way that the shining armor just comes over the top of you, and you feel the atmosphere, heaven on earth. And you have a relationship, and you know the Father loves you, man. You know he's got your back, and he protects you beyond anything else in the world that anyone talks about. And it's extraordinary. It's so beautiful, you have no idea. And when you listen to these people that do exactly what I say and recreate the molecules that nobody else is teaching all over the world, how to recreate the adrenochrome that you create from CO to 7,2 molecules in mortality, and recreate these things and discover the visions that you get, and the dreams that you get, the outside influence in your reality that changes the circumstances so dramatically. You can hear these people talk. 2 videos just went up on my timeline from Rumble, made by Philip, John, Nikki, and a few other people, and they're coming. They're coming by the truckloads, trust me. Listen to these words, but I bet 99% of you don't have time because you're too busy. You'd rather distract yourself with some quantum BS or some other BS that doesn't work. That simply does not work with all these new theories and all this educational high IQ that everyone's using, because it's not about that. It's about your natural organic motor skills to think instinctively and to think outside the mindset you live in. And that's where everything begins to happen. When you break free from amnesia, you stick your head out the tunnel and you realize you're not in the tunnel anymore with all the rabbit holes and all the destruction everywhere in the world, and all the disturbances and all the people trying to get attention in every single way around this world. Get there yourself, man. Don't listen to any motherfucker on earth. Trust me. I show you how to use the tools yourself and how you discover things completely organically and naturally, and it comes through to you completely organically and naturally. You don't require to use any other tools whatsoever except for your natural organic motor skills to think instinctively. Winoff won a Nobel Prize, and he has 27 Guinness Book of Records for superhuman abilities. That's evidence. That's rock solid evidence when it's in the Guinness Book of Records. You don't know much about me, do you? I'm a mastermind recorded by the biggest think tank in the world. An absolute mastermind who brought the cure of the human condition to humanity for the first time in 5,000 years. And do you know why I'm not leading this? Because of all you stupid morons out there that are so inverted that throw stones at people like me and believe more in a scientist or more in some professor or a biologist than what you do in someone who's chosen like me that brought this to humanity. Because all the study was done on me and on a handful of people, which are the last human beings born on earth, that can do all these extraordinary, unique abilities. And what do? We teach everybody, right? And how do we teach? With the oldest ancestral tools that's coded in our DNA from the indigenous people, because we're indigenous. And when you understand the whole Western civilization uses the Babylonian beast system, you understand who the indigenous are and who's using those tools. Being humble is what it's all about, with courage and not taking shit from the Western civilization and their inverted tools that keeps distracting everybody else with their high IQ. Because people love using those tools and distracting people and then putting tickets in themselves to think they know better. And that's what's happening all over the world. And that's how the whole world's been inverted, with a parasite inside their mind, and it's a proven fact. Their sixth sense is stripped. You know, a person that's been reborn that uses the righteous tools and gets off the grid, because that's what people do when they're reborn. They get away from people. I'm telling you the truth, man. There are thousands of people that are off the grid that will never be on social media platform and use any of these tools with all this modern technology and gadgets and all this stuff they're using all over the world today. You see, when you talk about Dr. Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, right? And when you talk about Jeremy Griffiths, and when you talk about Jordan Peterson, these guys are professors and scientists and biologists that explains with their educated knowledge and their research and their science and all these things, right? But those that are in their primal state are always outlaws, and always has been. They've always been off the grid, like the Shulam masterminds, the monks and the Buddhas, and the indigenous people that can live to be 150 years old plus and don't suffer any mental disorders, gene defects, or cancer defects whatsoever. It's a Western civilization that's so negative, and they consume too much, and they think too much, and they're so egotistical that all they do is use these love and compassion with chocolates and roses tools to better themselves, right? But have a look at their platforms and what they really do to bring people through from amnesia to discover who they really are and use these beautiful abilities to have the glory of love pouring all over you. And not use frequencies, not use quantum mechanics, but use their natural organic motor skills, because Keanu Reeves in the movie Matrix is an outlaw, and it's a documentary, and he has an outside influence, and he doesn't use any sophisticated knowledge because he has feelings and conveys feelings to thoughts with an outside influence they can respond to 7 times faster. And do you hear him talking about quantum mechanics? Do you hear anyone with superhuman abilities talk about any of this rubbish? No, they don't. They don't distract you with these things. But take people like Aaron and these people that think they're intelligent and put them to the test, and they can't do jack shit. They're just speak shit all day. And I'm sorry, but that's how it is. The truth is the truth. And they're not living it. They're not even on planet Earth, man. They're living in a bubble in space somewhere, right? And it's all about themselves, to make a name for themselves, but they can't move jack shit. They can't do nothing. They can't do what I do to people all over the world. And then they discredit it, and they run me down, and they throw stones at me when I have this kind of success. That's how evil these people are without even realizing it. They're pure evil when they turn against the people that are chosen by God. And that's all these people do, right? They don't go out there saving sinners and getting people off drugs and getting people free from suffering whatsoever. All they do is run around chasing other people that's chosen by God to belittle them and put themselves on a pedestal, and that's all they argue and debate about. And I find that interesting, that they're not actually helping people suffering. Well, that's my greatest tool, and that's my greatest gift. I help people suffer who are suffering. I bring them free from all their suffering, from their stress, fear, anxiety, confusion, frustration, delusion, and paranoia. I get them free from that, where they find more love, more compassionate feelings, more loyalty, honor, respect, moral remorse, inspiration, encouragement than anyone else in the world does. And if you listen to their voice rather than mine, and then lie to yourself, then go ahead and do that if you're that stupid. Because I find it astonishing that so many people don't listen because they're brain dead. And that's exactly what all my people are saying, that they took the patience because they had patience, and patience is a virtue, and patience is something people don't have because they're not even open-minded anymore. They're in a narrative and stuck in that narrative. Now, you don't believe what they believe in. They think you're evil, and they run you down, and they run around and tell everyone they're evil. That's what Aaron's all about. He tells everybody that they're not godly if they don't believe in him. How filthy and disgusting is that? I know people are confused in this world, but I certainly don't go running around telling them they're not godly. And he's not even chosen, man. He's got no evidence to support this. Never wrote a book, never done nothing for humanity, except for speak shit. Because you listen to Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's one of the biologists who came down from the line that we created, which I find astonishing. He doesn't even know where it began. He doesn't even know the people that created these tools and can do these things. He doesn't know anything. He's just been listening to social media platform and listened to one person or two and gone straight deep into this, right? Without even following up where it all come from or any of those people that can do these things. And I find that very, very inverted. And he's so brain-dead stupid he can't even see that because he's not open-minded and he doesn't change his perception of the way he thinks. He's one of those people that's carried over by a parasite to make him think himself that he's humble and he's the best and he's the God. That's what he thinks, man. And do you know how many people around here like this that uses these kind of tools to better themselves? If you don't believe in what they believe in, they discredit you. They run you down. And that's why Aaron, who already blocked, right, from Facebook because they don't want nothing to do with him, then he comes here to harass. Because he's one of those people that comes here to harass, right? And he thinks he knows everything. This is the guy that was on the missing link the other day, right? And he thinks he's so intelligent. Now he comes here to harass me here when I blocked him. You can see how inverted these people really are, right? And if you don't believe in them, they run you down and belittle you. And that's why the whole world's inside out. Because we have people like this all over the world that are misleading people and don't have that kind of success rate. Look at the people on my platform. Look at the 2 Rumble videos I've just posted on my YouTube. Just take a good look, man. Oh, sorry, on my Facebook, on the witness page. Just take a good look and listen to these people that are breaking free. Because they're doing something about it. They have the patience to look deep and go deep. But most people don't. They just rather entertain themselves. They don't have time. These people dedicate themselves, right, to discover who they are and find out what real freedom is, and they find that liberation. And it's the most wonderful thing. It's the most beautiful thing. And you know what? I just feel sorry for everybody that can't get this and still stuck in that cave and can't stick their head out the cave to understand what it's all about, to break free from this nonsense and stop using the same tools. You're hurting yourself and you're hurting your own DNA without realizing it because you're distracting yourself and avoiding the most important moment in human history. Why don't you want to better yourself? Why don't you want to discover who you really are and what you're really capable of doing? Why don't you? Why don't you want to take it to the next level? Why don't you want to go really, really deep into your own soul and your own spirit and understand what this is really, truly all about? Because you're all limited somewhere and distract yourself with more information instead of really, really doing something. Trust me when I say this. We not went through a death experience like I did. We went through death experience. And we discovered things that no one else in the world has ever discovered. How to break free from death. How to create the visions and dreams, and how to be in connection and be in contact with the Father in that image. How to really, really be in that image to use these tools. And all you need to do is understand a 2.5 minute cold shower to go in flight mode, right? And doing the Win Up Breathing program and really going deep with this as hard as you can. What you gain from this is phenomenal. And I do mean this. You know, I have people suffering with so many things, and in a 30-day test, they are absolutely astounded with what happens here when you become instinctive and you think outside the mind. And you recreate the molecules that you create from 0 to 7. When you recreate those molecules from 0 to 7 that you created, they're the molecules of immortality that preserves life. When they discover this, they alter their way of thinking, just like having a shot of meth, being alert, alive, awake and aware in the primal state with the gut feeling survival mode, the chakra, and where the spinal cord starts to shiver up and down their spine with alert, alive, awake and aware with a meth effect, alert, alive, awake and aware, and beautiful, man. Look at Winhoff. What is it all about? It's about love. It's about believing. And every single thing else in the world is nothing but BS. Why do you think we're the only ones saying this? The rest of the world's full of BS. You don't need to use any of these tools whatsoever. All you need to do is find yourself, man. All you need to do is find yourself. Discover who you really are and how much God really does love you and how much He'll protect you. When you break free from amnesia, you stick your head out the cave and you realize it's only the beginning and nothing Nothing ever will fear you ever again. No more stress, no more pain, no more fear, no more anxiety, no more delusion, no more paranoia, all gone. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And so does the people that listen to what I say and practice what I preach. They find real freedom. They find that liberation and they connect in flesh. They connect all over the world and now they're connecting, making videos everywhere. Why don't you pay attention to these guys? Why don't you really listen to what they say and where they come from and how confused they were and how they found real freedom and how they can see the rest of the world's inverted? Do not listen to the 98%, believe me. Do not listen to them. Right? They will distract you. And when you realise that most of them are possessed by the devil, you might realise why Jeremy Griffiths and the top bowlers and the top prophets all over the world have said 97% is beyond the point of return. Jeremy Griffiths declared that 93% is beyond the point of return. Now we're discovering that they have parasites possessed by the devil. The voice and the mind, soul, and design, human extinction, and they're all deceived into that because they all conquer and divide. And if you don't believe in them, they think everyone else is evil. It's hardcore shit. Believe me, it's hardcore shit, but believe me when I say this. If you really dedicate yourself to learn how to love yourself correctly, you'll learn how to love others correctly the same way. And you spread it like a virus. You create the atmosphere, man. You create the most positive fields on earth that's ever recorded in modern history. We can record it, and you can create them. And you create it in such a way that you feel the armor, the shining armor, come over the top of you, right? You feel the aura, you feel the power. You feel the power from heaven come to earth. And you're connected to it, and it spreads like a virus. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Trust me, guys. This is one time you don't want to get this wrong because believe me, it all happens organically with your natural organic motor skills and you can do it yourself. You don't need a book. You don't need any science. You don't need nothing. All you need to do is have faith in who you really are and discover this. And you know you can discover that? Stop thinking. You have to cease your thinking completely. Now that's too hard to think about, right? Well, believe me, when you go to sleep, your body repairs and you know that. Okay, so when you do the Win Up Breathing program, the same thing happens. You go into what's called the death experience by having the cold shower. You go into fight-flight mode to get right out of the mindset and you activate your body cells. And then you do the deep breathing because oxygen is the breath of life, man. There's a special paragraph in the Bible that talks about the holy breath. And we don't breathe correctly because we think too much and create endorphins and dopamines. We're supposed to create the meth effect, right? The adrenochrome to be alert, alike, wake and aware like a child from 0 to 7. That's why Jesus said, go back to your childhood, man, and live every day as your last and keep your moral values in the right place, obviously, right? But he says this, go back to your childhood when you're innocent, man, because that's who you are inside. Not the person that you created with a high IQ and think you're intelligent all the time, that distracts you all the time. That's something that's inverted inside you, like you've got two characters, right? That's the truth, man. But you're that person inside that's just that little boy and little girl where life was innocent, man, to use those tools where you did, in fact, mastermind a computer game between 3 and 7 and move 7 times faster than an adult, pumped with adrenaline without any mental disorders or confusion and frustration. And you had an ability to move 7 times faster because you have an outside influence in your reality with 7-fold wisdom knowledge with that information. And that's the facts. If you can understand that, you can go back to your childhood and start to explore that wonderful gift that God gave you because it got stripped from you. It got stripped from you. And if you understand that, you can master your mind so your mind don't master you because you are the master of your mind and God gave you that gift and that's where you're highly intelligent when you can do these things. And they strip that from you, the innocence, man. That's why you become inverted into a marketing strategy, into a slave system where you're confused all the time. You've got to learn who you are, man. You've got to go back. Repent means go back. Go right back into your human history and uncode who you really are. Because God created you in a certain image to do these things, man. He really did. And if you don't have faith in that, remember, the voice in your mind is ultimately designed for human extinction that you follow all the time. But God only works for visions and dreams, for your feelings. Only through your feelings, man. He only works for your instincts, and Keanu Reeves works for his instincts. He doesn't work for any technology, right? In the movie The Matrix, right? The documentary, he has an outside influence, right, which represents 27, the Holy Spirit and the divine light. Do you know that? Because that's the most important universal number on the planet. And when you're in that image, you understand that. The Holy Spirit comes inside you and protects you like a father does. With the most powerful love and compassion you've ever felt in your life. And there's nothing on earth that can even explain this. There's no words on earth that's good enough to explain this. With any quantum mechanics or physics or anything like this, there are no words powerful enough to explain the God-given gift you come in this world with and to use that power. Trust me, I know. And so does the people that's learning this when they break free from amnesia. There are no words to describe this, so they just cry and go into tears because they're discovering this. And it's the feelings, man. It's pure love. It's pure loyalty, honor, respect, moral, miracles, inspiration, encouragement. You feel the Father's got you by the balls, man, and he'll never let go you. You know he's got you, and you know he loves you. You will feel that love in such a way that no man on earth can debunk and discredit you ever again, because you know God loves you that way. And you know he loves each and every one of you, and everybody else in the world just doesn't know any better. When you understand the resurrection, you understand that nobody else in the world knows any better, and you only feel sorry for them when you have that kind of love. Of course you do. And when you're given that kind of power to do these wonderful things that you can change the circumstances, you only wish everybody else would have the same tools. That's all you wish for everybody else, that they will do the same thing. I'm not here to make myself better than anyone else or put tickets on myself or whatever. I just want to give you the tools, man. I just want you to really go deep with this yourself and do the We're Not Breathing program and put yourself through this experience and learn these things for God's sake. That's all I'm asking you to do. If you don't like me, I don't care. It's not about me. It's about you. And it's about making that relationship with God that gives you that power. And that's all I want for you, man. Okay, that's all I want for you. I want you to experience these things, and I want you to have this, because believe me, if you could feel this for 1 minute, you'd want some of this. And I go into specific details about this. There's a method you can use for 2 seconds that has no human side effect, that gives you this ability where you can feel it in a heartbeat with adrenaline. Now, I don't recommend you use this, but I'll tell you a format in my videos in this series, how to make this meth laboratorily correct from organic products, so you can have this unbelievable experience to break free from amnesia and discover the truth in your primal state. And when you feel this, believe me, right? The drug's not addictive, but you're addicted to your own adrenochrome when you recreate it. And when you do the We're Not Breathing program and you recreate it organically, you get addicted to it, man. You get addicted to the love, you get addicted to the power, and you create 7 times more positive power and energy, proven on documents, man, with scientific research. He won a Nobel Prize for this, to recreate these molecules, to create 27 superhuman abilities with Guinness Book of Records, for God's sake. And what does Winnoff say? The same thing I do. It's about love. It's about believing. The rest of the world's full of BS. Right? It's not difficult, guys. You know, if you really listen to what the people are getting out of this, you discover what you're missing out on, man. You're being distracted. I don't want you to miss on this, man. Because when you have some of this, you create the atmosphere around you that spreads like a virus, and it changes the circumstances with everything. It changes and alters every decision you make automatically. You don't have to think about it. It happens automatically, because that's the way God loves you, when you make that connection. So believe me, when you do the We're Not Breathing program, that is the time to communicate, man, and to create that relationship, right? And to be one with God, man. To be one with God. Trust me, he loves each and every one of you as if you are his only one, okay? Share that information with everybody. And please, guys, learn to practice what I preach. Study, right? Go to the World Transformation Movement and listen to Jeremy Griffith's 14 videos. Once you learn about the fact that we're so inverted in the tools we use, just through him as a biologist, you'll start to get everything a lot better with Dr. Bruce Lipton, Joe Dispenza, and everything else. But don't soften things up and use their tools. Just listen to the information so you know. But don't stop there. From that moment there, go back to do the We're Not Breathing program. He was chosen for this, right? He was chosen for this. He went walk about in the mountains, the light come to him the same way it come to me. That's why we stand fat by each other, right? With Jonathan Kahn, right? Tom Thorne, See Guys 225, The Return of the Gods, right? Prophecy Watchers, and Stephen Quayle. They are the elect chosen, believe me. They know these tools, guys. Don't listen to anyone else, because everybody else, right, debunks and discredits everybody else they possibly can. And believe me, God does not work with people like that. He puts us all together. And I bring the top biologists and the top scientists in the whole world, and the top prophets and the top elect people in the whole world together. I don't put tickets on myself. I never did, man. People are just completely confused about this, right? I've always put every platform together. And the people that follow me and practice what I preach, why don't you go and have a look at what they're achieving at? Because I want you to have some of that, for God's sake, and I don't want you to miss out, I don't want you to miss out. When you discover these things, right, believe me, God will come to you and he'll give you the gift of life that you don't have. And when you really feel this and stop thinking about it, believe me, you'll come back here on the platform and you'll teach everybody else because you want everybody else to have some of that too. And that's the greatest gift that God could ever give you. And it's the greatest love, man. It's the greatest time to be alive to have this. But it's hard to get through people's thick skull. It is difficult. It's not easy. But I never give up because God never gives up on us. He never gives up on any of us, no matter what. And I know that every person out there, no matter what they teach, right, they're not evil, right? 90% of people in this world is not evil. They're just confused and frustrated and don't know any better. But I will never call any of them evil. If they don't believe in me, it just means they don't know any better, that's all, right? And that's what's happening all over the world with the confusion and frustration. People just don't know any better. They're not putting each other together, right? They're living in some kind of narrative and they use those tools to conquer and divide with. And it's wrong, man. It's wrong, man. This is only something that's been happening the last 30 years. All these tools they use has only been used in the last 30 years. We never used these tools ever in human history. We're all the same, man. We're loving, compassionate creatures, and we know one thing that we have in common. It's loyalty, honor, respect, motivation, inspiration, encouragement. Now, let me tell you something, guys. How many people have how many friends they really trust? With genuine loyalty, honor, respect, motivation, inspiration, encouragement, and use our organic tools with our family values, as a father would with his child, as a brother and a sister, a mother and a father would teach all their children. Who's using those tools of righteousness and going back to their childhood to discover this when you're innocent? To use those innocent tools that you were created with. Trust me, guys. Believe me, right? When you get that, you can get to so many more people because people come to me by the truckloads for those very reasons, right? Don't look at my timelines in the post because I'm on shadow ban. Don't worry about that shit. Right? Listen to what these guys are talking about because there's thousands and they're talking about thousands that they come to know. And many people are changing here and discovering these things. And I just want you to have some of that. And it's easier than you think, man. But you need patience. Patience is a virtue. And you need to dedicate yourself and really, really seriously learn to love yourself correctly, man, in your natural primal state, instinctively. Right? Now, it takes a bit of time and dedication to do this, and patience is a virtue, right? But believe me, sevenfold wisdom and knowledge will come to you and alter the circumstances. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Love you guys.